Well, I'm happy to see that Hytale's pre-launch community is as alive as ever, and there's a lot of discussions being had about what's next for the game's development. What's the next big system we're going to see? But while everyone's attention is focused on those big things, I wanted to take a week to step back and look at something that's a little smaller in the grand scheme of things. Something that at least appears relatively small, but could potentially end up having a huge effect on the larger story. Welcome back to Kweebec Corner. My name is Connor, and today on Hytale Theory Talk, I wanted to dive into the heart and soul of this channel. I'm of course talking about the world of the Kweebecs. Let's break down everything we really know about them so far using blog posts, images, video footage, and anything Noxie may have subtly revealed during interviews and tweets. What is that connection to Gaia that they have, and why are Treesingers such a prominent part of their society? This video is sponsored by Server Pro. Server Pro has everything you need to host the next big Hytale server. With support for modding and scripting, why not start your adventure today and grab a free Minecraft server which you can swap over once Hytale is launched. Kweebecs are a cute set of sentient tree-like beings that inhabit and thrive throughout Zone 1, or as we know it so far, the Emerald Grove. Specifically, they appear to be fond of forests and riverlands, carving trees into housing for their woodland settlements. They make use of sticks, leaves, and ropes to craft armor and weaponry such as razor spears and capture fireflies to create glowing lanterns. They are said to be the friendliest of all of Orbis's races and remain passive towards the player unless otherwise provoked. This peaceful attitude is also reflected in their respect for nature. They don't actually eat, they absorb energy from the sun via photosynthesis and gain nutrients by dipping their feet into the water. Kweebecs are also asexual, as most trees are, meaning they're neither male or female. Kweebecs have roughly 5 stages in their life cycle. First, we have the seedling. These drop onto the ground from ancestral trees and appear as small, cute cubes. They're cared for by Treesingers, more on them later, and grow, developing more defined characteristics and eventually sprouting usable limbs. I'm calling this stage younglings. It's important to note that at this point they're still fairly defenseless, requiring care and education. Equipped with a small rabbit as a pet, they soon develop into fully formed Kweebecs. Now, much stronger and with little fangs fully formed, they're ready to take up an occupation in the settlement, with time growing older and slower until they reach the stage of an autumnal elder. Wise and nearing the end of its lifespan, the orangey-brown elder prepares to sleep for the final time, slowing to a halt before transforming into a tree with a sudden burst of energy. These trees thereby being known as ancestral trees, which then sprout a new generation of seedling for the cycle to repeat again. So let's talk about what Kweebecs do to get by, shall we? How do they pull their weight? Well, Kweebecs have 2 known occupations that are significant: Treesingers and Razor Leaf Rangers. While we've seen evidence of basic warriors, rangers, fisher foragers, and even scout patrols, Treesingers are special and seem to hold an important role in the community. Treesingers are talented Kweebecs that are able to recount and sing the stories of elders, passing them down to the growing seedling youth to further educate them on their ancestry. From an interview conducted on a Discord last year, Noxie hinted that Treesingers can be any age, and the most accomplished may be able to remember thousands of songs. Treesingers also tend to the ancestral trees and growing seedlings, potentially the younglings too, ensuring that they're always cared for. It seems a majority of Treesingers themselves may be adults or older Kweebecs that are more proficient or experienced. They're sort of like the guardians or the parental figures of the Kweebec tribes. While it is true and very sad that autumnal elders will never meet their own children, elders could, in theory, record messages for their seedlings, suggesting that Treesingers first commune with the elder before their passing, in order to form and remember the song and then pass it down. The next occupation involves only the fiercest of Kweebecs. These are the Razor Leaf Rangers, an elite group of warriors that we've yet to actually see, meaning they may not actually be Kweebecs, but they'll be dead set on defending settlements from trigger-happy players that like to swing their axes around and mess with seedlings. Noxie has backed up that these guys are not to be messed with, and them showing up will probably mean that you're not in the best of standing with the Kweebecs. While simple quests and basic actions will probably lead to an easy understanding between the player and this race, I quote, "The Kweebecs are no pushovers. If you start butchering their children, they call these guys called the Razor Leaf Rangers, who are hard as nuts. Luckily, if you're down on your rep, you'll be able to boost it by battling against their apparent enemies, the Trorks. Trorks capture Kweebecs in raids, perhaps picking them off from scouting parties. Kweebecs do their best to defend, using the Trork tusks claimed from previous battles as armoured spikes. While regular warriors and rangers will be guarding from dangers such as opposing Trorks, and foragers fishing and gathering for much needed supplies, I think it's safe to say that these areas of the zone shall be some of the most characteristic and fluid. So, with all of that out of the way, we have a pretty good idea of what we're going to find, but we've still never actually heard a Kweebec. Think about it. One of the iconic features of Minecraft mobs are their calls and sounds, yet with Kweebecs, a super musical race, we've not heard any sounds at all. Perhaps this could be pinned down to the developers not wanting to reveal everything just yet, but at the same time I feel it could be because they're also trying to hide something, a secret connection that will be important to the game's lore. Let's look back to our notes on Kweebecs from the blog posts. Concept art shows us that Kweebecs are clearly aware of Gaia. They actively carve effigies of her being, and even carve elemental symbols into stone, such as the wind insignia of freedom, seen also with the Ferens. Those effigies, though, are actually really vital to our investigation. You see, they're not just the statues of a goddess made from normal wood. No, this is wood from an ancient tree, from their ancestors, the ancestral trees we've previously spoken about. Clearly it has some use. It's a very precious resource that Kweebecs only seem to use for very specific things. I mean, they wouldn't just chop up their grandparents for no reason, after all. Carving them into a form they worship shows us that they place high value on Gaia, almost a tribute for their sentience or existence entirely. We know other races share similar praising methods, but Kweebecs specifically have an aforementioned connection to the greater world as mentioned by Noxy, who stated they're very wholesome and share a special connection to Gaia. They also have a certain power. What could this special connection be? And what of this certain power? Well, that's where we loop back to the singing. Remember I said we haven't heard Kweebecs yet? Well, that's true, and I think the developers have purposely kept from revealing it as it itself is special, perhaps even magical. We know that each zone represents an element, and magic from that zone has attributes relating to that element. We've seen Outlanders using water magic and void creatures using void magic, so it probably makes sense that there are races in each zone that can wield particular elemental types. The Kweebecs lie smack bang in the middle of Zone 1, and their element is Earth. I mean, what's more earthly than a tree? If anyone is going to have a connection to what is essentially Mother Nature, it's these guys, and the power they draw from her or the Earth itself may be expressed through singing. Kweebecs don't seem like the type to pick up huge magical staffs and start hurling blocks of earth at one another, but we know being able to sing is a gift that only talented Kweebecs can do, sort of like being born with a natural gift for running or art. I think the reason we haven't heard these Treesinger songs is because they may be magical, enriching pieces, set to astonish us when we walk into a village for the very first time. The songs being magical may also suggest their nurturing and lightening effect on seedlings. Let's look at the research. Many real-world studies have indicated that playing music to plants genuinely does promote faster, healthier growth. It would make sense that this certain power Kweebecs have is a fine-tuned link to nature itself, with the power to accelerate growth and life as a whole. They may even have the ability to heal. Imagine being low on hearts and scurrying to a nearby Kweebec village where a Treesinger is performing a lullaby in camp. You rest and begin to refill hearts. What we have heard from these places remains in the soundtrack. The Kweebec village piece was made to sound like, and I quote, a small ensemble, in order to create the sense that the Kweebecs themselves might be playing this tune. There are also orchestral elements that thicken the sound, as if the Hytale soundtrack itself is getting behind a small Kweebec band. This makes me think that the Kweebecs are going to have a much bigger part to play in the story. Just after this, Oscar goes on to say that he made use of the main Hytale motif as a key building block when creating the melody for the very reason that the Kweebecs are important to the story. Combine that with the fact we later see the player appear allied with them at the Temple of Gaia, suggests that this small race has a much bigger role to play. Perhaps they themselves are the sole guardians, the last remaining race that can uphold Gaia's prime objectives. We're approaching foggy territory, and with all my theories, I do like to keep them grounded in what we currently know. Some fun abstract theories that have been mentioned over the last year are the likes of undead Kweebecs, evil void Kweebecs, even bulkier, more intimidating Kweebecs. That last one was of course confirmed when Noxy brought up the Razorleaf guys, so who knows what else is possible. How do Kweebecs celebrate events? I mean, we've seen them at Christmas time, but we don't know much else. What does the actual ancestral transformation look like in-game? What do the ancestral trees themselves look like in-game? And what do Razorleaf Rangers look like in-game? Still so many questions that again will wait to be answered here on Hytale Theory Talk. If you made it this far, then you're probably excited for Hytale, so join the Kweebec Corner Discord server by clicking the invite link below. We have over 1,200 users and a new ranking system where you can grow from a seedling right up to an adult Kweebec. There are even special rules for participating in events, and as always, themed daily talks in each channel. The community is active and filled with creative members, so come along. You can also follow me on Twitter at Kweebec Corner. Thanks for liking and subscribing, and thanks as always for watching Kweebec Corner. Keep safe and stay free.